Admiral James Walker stood at the massive viewport of Earth Command Station, his weathered face reflecting in the reinforced glass. Below him, Earth turned slowly, its blue oceans now tinted gray with ash, its green continents scarred with black, craters where cities had once stood. Yet despite these wounds, his planet lived. More importantly, his planet had won. Admiral, the broadcast system is ready. Walker turned to face the young officer. Lieutenant Davis looked tired. They all did. No one had slept much during the 3 months of the invasion, and even less during the final week when humanity's desperate counterattack had driven the aliens back. "How many of their communication systems did we capture intact?" Walker asked. 12. Major relay stations, sir. Our techs say that's enough to reach about 60% of their known territory. Walker nodded. It will have to do. The rest will hear it from their friends. He straightened his uniform jacket. Is Dr. Reed here yet? As if summoned by his words, the door to the observation deck slid open. Dr. Emily Reed entered, carrying a data tablet. Her right arm was in a sling, a souvenir from the Battle of New Delhi, where she had been collecting alien technology while under heavy fire. "Doctor," Walker greeted her, "what have we learned about our unwelcome visitors?" Reed swiped across her tablet with her good hand. Images of various alien species appeared, along with star maps and ship designs. They call themselves the Stellar Concordat, 17 different species in total with a loose central government. They've been expanding for about 300 years. She looked up at Walker. "We weren't their first victims, just their latest." Walker frowned. "And their reason for attacking us?" "Standard procedure according to their military logs. They find developing worlds, overwhelm them with superior technology, and add them to the Concordat, sometimes as slaves, sometimes as low-status members." Reed's mouth formed a grim line. "They expected us to surrender within days." Walker turned back to the viewport, staring at Earth. Their mistake. It had been their mistake indeed. The Concordat had arrived with ships that dwarfed humanity's largest vessels. Their weapons had cut through Earth's defenses like paper. Their soldiers had landed in major cities across the globe. But they had not counted on human adaptability. They had not expected Earth's militaries to set aside their differences and unite within hours of the first attack. They had not anticipated how quickly human scientists would reverse engineer captured alien weapons. And most of all, they had not understood that humans, when backed into a corner, would fight with a savagery that shocked even veteran Concordat commanders. The tide had turned 3 weeks into the invasion when Russian and American special forces had captured an intact alien destroyer over the ruins of Tokyo. Within days, Earth scientists had cracked its propulsion and weapon systems. Within 2 weeks, those same weapons had been mass-produced in underground factories around the world. The aliens had expected to face spears. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy who took their own weapons and improved them. "The broadcast team is ready, sir," Lieutenant Davis said, interrupting Walker's. "Thoughts?" Walker nodded. "Tell me about the current situation in the Concordat, Doctor." Reed swiped to a new screen on her tablet. "Their fleet is in retreat. Based on their communications, many of their commanders were killed in our counterattack. Their leadership is in chaos." She paused. "But the Concordat is just one power in the galaxy. There are others who might see us as a threat or an opportunity." Walker walked to the center of the room where a simple podium had been set up. Behind it, the Earth turned slowly, its battle scars visible to all who would soon watch the broadcast. "That's why they need to hear from us," he said. "All of them." Reed took a position off to the side, just out of camera range. The broadcast crew gave Walker a countdown. 3, 2, 1. The red light on the camera blinked on. "My name is Admiral James Walker of the United Earth Defense Force," he began, his voice steady and cold. "I speak to you from Earth orbit, where the last ships of your Concordat invasion fleet are being destroyed as I talk." Walker paused, letting the silence hang for a moment. "You came to our world uninvited. You destroyed our cities. You killed millions of our people. You expected us to bow down before your superior technology." His eyes narrowed. "Instead, We took your weapons and turned them against you. We studied your ships and improved them. We adapted in weeks what took you centuries to develop." Walker pressed a button on the podium. Behind him, the view changed to show footage of Earth's counterattack. Captured alien vessels now piloted by humans, alongside hastily constructed Earthships equipped with reverse-engineered weapons tearing through the Concordat fleet. This message is not just for what remains of your Concordat leadership. It is for every spacefaring civilization in this galaxy. Walker's voice grew harder. Earth was not looking for war. We did not venture into space seeking conflict. You brought this war to us. The screen behind him changed again, showing the test firing of a new weapon system. A beam of energy lanced out from an orbital platform, striking a small asteroid. The space rock didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, reduced to its component atoms in an instant. This weapon was developed by Earth scientists, based on technology we captured from your invasion fleet. What took your species generations to create, we mastered in months. Walker's face remained impassive. And this is just the beginning. The screen changed again, showing production facilities buried deep beneath Earth's surface, churning out ships and weapons at a pace that even the Concordat would find difficult to match. "Let me be clear about what happens next," Walker continued. "Earth will rebuild. Earth will expand into our solar system and eventually to the stars. We will develop our own path among the galactic community." Walker leaned forward slightly, his hands gripping the edges of the podium. "And if any species attacks Earth again, if any civilization makes the same mistake the Concordat made, they will be annihilated." The last word hung in the air. Not defeated, not pushed back, annihilated. This is not a threat. This is not a negotiating position. This is a promise. Walker straightened up. "We now possess the means to detect your faster-than-light travel. We can track your ships, and should any hostile vessel approach our world again, we will respond with overwhelming force." Behind him, Earth continued its slow rotation, the scars of invasion clearly visible. "Earth seeks no war. Earth desires no empire. Leave us in peace, and you will find us peaceful. Attack us again." Walker paused, letting his words sink in. "And it will be the last decision your civilization ever makes." Walker nodded once. "That is all." The broadcast ended. The red light on the camera blinked off. For a moment there was silence on the command deck. Then Reed spoke, her voice quiet. "Do you think they'll listen?" Walker turned to look back at Earth. Lights were visible now on its night side, cities being rebuilt, power grids coming back online. Humanity, resilient as ever, was already healing. "Some will," he said. "Others will see it as a challenge. That's why we need to be ready." Reed nodded. "The captured data shows at least 3 major power groups besides the Concordat. Not all of them will be happy to learn about a new species that can fight back." Walker's gaze remained fixed on Earth. "Then they'll learn what the Concordat learned. Humanity doesn't start wars." His eyes hardened. "We finished them." In the vast reaches of space, the broadcast rippled outward at faster-than-light speeds, carried by captured Concordat relay stations. In thousands of alien ships, command centers, and worlds, beings of various forms and biologies watched the human admiral deliver his cold warning. And on a distant world that humans would one day know as Nova Prime, General Krell of the Void Wing, Armada watched the broadcast with growing rage. The defeat of the Concordat forces could not stand. The human's arrogance would not go unanswered. He began to plan. 6 months after Earth's warning was broadcast to the stars, Ambassador Thomas Gray stepped off the shuttle onto the metal floor of Nexus Station. He tried not to look impressed, but it was difficult. The massive space station hung at the edge of what was once Concordat space, a giant metal wheel spinning slowly to create gravity. Ships of all sizes and shapes docked along its outer ring. "Try not to stare," whispered Lisa Ortiz, his chief of security. "We don't want to look like the new kids at school." Gray nodded. He was a tall man with short gray hair that matched his last name. Before becoming Earth's first ambassador to alien species, he had been a colonel in the United Earth Defense Force. The scars on his face told the story of the battles he had fought during the invasion. Any hostiles identified? He asked quietly. About a dozen species represented here, Ortiz replied. At least 3 were part of the Concordat. The others, we're still figuring them out. A blue-skinned alien approached them. It walked on 2 legs and had 4 arms. Its face had no nose, just breathing slits, and its eyes were large and completely black. Ambassador Gray of Earth, the alien said in perfect English. I am Liaison Vera of the Ashtari. Welcome to Nexus Station. Gray extended his hand, then realized the alien might not know the human custom. To his surprise, Vera reached out with one of its lower arms and shook his hand perfectly. We have studied your species, Vera explained. The Ashtari believe in understanding others. I appreciate that, Gray said. We have much to learn about galactic society. Yes, Vera agreed. And many have much to learn about humans. Your victory over the Concordat has created much discussion. As they walked through the station, Gray tried not to react to the many alien forms around him. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange he couldn't even tell which parts were heads and which were bodies. Many stopped to stare at the humans as they passed. Your quarters have been prepared, Vera said, leading them to a section of the station marked with Earth's flag. This will be your embassy. The Trading Council will meet with you tomorrow. After Vera left, Ortiz ran a scanner around the rooms. Clean, she announced. No listening devices. That we can detect anyway. Gray nodded and turned to the rest of his team. Besides Ortiz, there were 2 diplomats, 3 scientists, and 4 Marines in plain clothes. Earth was taking no chances. Dr. Miller, he said to one of the scientists, what do we know about the Ashtari? Miller, a woman with short blonde hair and quick eyes, checked her tablet. They're traders and diplomats. They stay neutral in most conflicts. They weren't part of the Concordat, but they did business with them. Can we trust them? Miller shrugged. More than others, probably. But remember, every species here has its own goals. The next day, Gray sat at a large round table with representatives from 12 alien species. Some looked at the humans with curiosity. Others showed clear hostility. Earth claims the right to defend itself, said a reptilian alien with red scales. Yet you threaten to destroy entire civilizations. How are we to trust such violent creatures? Gray looked directly at the alien. We didn't start the war. The Concordat did, we finished it. A lucky victory, sneered another alien, this one covered in thick fur with 6 eyes arranged in a circle on its face. Primitive beings shouldn't play with technology they don't understand. Before Gray could answer, Vera spoke. The Ashtari have reviewed the battle data. Earth's victory was not luck. They adapted and innovated at a rate never before seen in the galaxy. This is concerning to some. Concerning? Asked the furry alien. It's dangerous. These humans could be building fleets right now, planning to attack us all. Gray shook his head. Earth wants trade, not war. A loud boom shook the room, cutting off Gray's words. Alarms blared throughout the station. Security breach in Docking Bay 7, announced a voice over the station's speakers. Ortiz was instantly at Gray's side, weapon drawn. We need to move, sir. They rushed back to the Earth Embassy section. Dr. Miller met them at the door, her face pale. It was a bomb, she said. In the docking bay where our shuttle was parked. The shuttle is destroyed. Gray's face hardened. Casualties? 2 station security officers. No humans. This was a message, Ortiz said. They want us to know we're not welcome. Later that night, as Gray sat in his office reviewing security footage, Vera arrived unexpectedly. Ambassador, we must speak privately, the alien said. Vera seemed nervous, constantly looking around. Gray nodded to Ortiz, who checked Vera for weapons, then left them alone. What I tell you now comes at great risk, Vera said quietly. General Krell of the Voidwing Armada is gathering forces. He was a high commander in the Concordat, and he sees your people as a stain on his honor. Gray leaned forward. The bombing? Krell's agents, yes, but this is just the beginning. Vera's black eyes seemed to grow darker. He is convincing others that humans will become conquerors if not stopped now. He speaks of your rapid technological growth as proof. We just want to be left alone, Gray insisted. Perhaps, but your Admiral Walker's message frightened many, and fear leads to bad decisions. Vera paused. There is more. Something called Operation Sunforge. What's that? I don't know details, only that it involves a weapon of terrible power. Vera stood to leave. Watch for allies, Ambassador. Not all species agree with Krell. Some see potential in humans. After Vera left, Gray called Dr. Reed back on Earth. Her face appeared on the screen, looking tired. Emily, we need to speed up the Sentinel system, he said without greeting. And get the Admiral. We have a problem. 3 weeks later, Gray stood before representatives of 10 different alien species in a private meeting room. These weren't the hostile ones from before. These were potential allies. Curious about Earth. My government has authorized me to share this with you, Gray said, activating a display. The screen showed a test firing of Earth's new defense system. Massive satellites in orbit around Earth fired energy beams that converged on a small moon in the outer solar system. The beams cut through the moon's surface like butter, splitting it in half. A murmur went through the aliens. This is one of several defense systems Earth has developed, Gray explained. We call it the Sentinel system. It can target any ship entering our solar system. You show us weapons? Asked a tall, thin alien with skin like tree bark. Is this a threat? No, Gray said firmly. It's proof. Proof that Earth can defend itself. Proof that attacking us again would be suicide. He looked at each alien in turn. We want peace. We want trade. We want to learn from you and share what we know. But we will not be conquered. One of the aliens, a being that looked like a floating ball of light, moved closer. Some on this station say humans are too dangerous to be allowed into the galactic community. That you will become the next Concordat. Gray shook his head. Earth has no interest in building an empire. We had enough trouble managing just one planet. This got a few laughs from the aliens, but we will not be victims either. As the meeting ended, several of the aliens approached Gray to discuss possible trade agreements. It was a start. Later, as Gray returned to the Earth Embassy, an urgent message waited for him from Dr. Reed. He read it twice, his face growing. First, the message was simple. Their intelligence teams had intercepted communications about Operation Sunforge. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a planet killer, and Earth was its target. Gray looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, General Krell was preparing for war. And despite all of Earth's new weapons and technologies, Gray wondered if they were ready for what was coming. The warning had been delivered, but some were choosing not to listen. Admiral Walker stood in the massive underground hangar, looking up at humanity's greatest achievement since the end of the invasion. The UES Defiance was Earth's first faster-than-light spaceship, built using technology captured from the Concordat fleet. It wasn't as large as the alien ships had been, but its sleek black hull hinted at the deadly weapon systems it carried. She'll be ready for testing next week, said Chief Engineer Roberts, a woman with dark skin and hands rough from years of work. We've improved their engine design by about 30%. Walker nodded. And the weapons? Better than anything. The Concordat had, Roberts said with pride. The main cannon can punch through 3 meters of their strongest armor. We've also installed the new Prometheus device. Walker's face grew serious at the mention of the Prometheus device. It was Earth's most terrible weapon, designed as a last resort. The scientists who created it refused to test it at full power, fearing what it might do. A young officer approached them. Admiral, urgent message from Ambassador Gray on Nexus Station. Walker followed the officer to the command center, buried deep under what used to be Colorado before the invasion. The room was filled with screens and busy personnel. One large screen lit up with Gray's face. Admiral, we have confirmed reports about Operation Sunforge, Gray said without greeting. It's worse than we thought. Tell me, Walker ordered. It's a superweapon being built in the Erebus system. According to our sources, it can create an artificial solar flare and direct it at a target system. Gray's face was grim. It could burn Earth's atmosphere away. Nothing would survive. Walker was silent for a moment. Timeline? 2 weeks, maybe less, until it's operational. General Krell has united 7 species into what they're calling the Purgation Front. Their goal is to eliminate humanity before we can spread to other star systems. Walker turned to the officer beside him. Prepare the Defiance for immediate launch. Contact Captain Reeves. Sir, the ship hasn't completed testing, the officer protested. It'll have to be good enough, Walker said firmly. We need to see this weapon for ourselves. He turned back to Gray's image. Thomas, do we have any allies out there? Gray nodded. A few. The Ashtari have been helpful. There's also a splinter group from the Concordat, led by a Commander Thex, who seems to hate Krell more than he fears humans. And the Mercantile Collective sees profit potential in trading with us. Get whatever intelligence you can about the Erebus system. We're sending the Defiance to investigate. After the call ended, Walker sat alone in his office. On his desk was a photo of his family, taken before the invasion. His wife and daughter had been in London when the Concordat ships arrived. London was now a crater. A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. Dr. Reed entered, looking as tired as he felt. You wanted to see me, Admiral? You're going on the Defiance, Walker said. You know more about alien technology than anyone. They need you to analyze this Sunforge weapon. Reed nodded. I've been studying the intercepted communications. If their science is solid, this weapon could do exactly what they claim. Can we stop it? Reed hesitated. Maybe, but we need to know more about how it works. Walker stood and walked to a wall, map showing Earth's solar system. Small lights indicated the growing network of defense platforms, outposts on Mars and the moons of Jupiter, mining operations in the asteroid belt. Humanity was expanding, rebuilding. We've come too far to lose everything now, he said quietly. Captain Michael Reeves was a young man for such an important command. At 35, he had distinguished himself during the invasion by capturing an alien destroyer and turning its weapons against the Concordat fleet. His right arm was now an advanced prosthetic, a reminder of what that victory had cost him. He stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching his crew prepare for their first faster-than-light jump. Engine room reports ready, Captain, said his first officer, Commander Wilson. Dr. Reed, are you comfortable? Reeves asked the scientist, who sat at a specialized console designed to monitor alien technology. As comfortable as one can be when about to be flung across the galaxy, she replied with a small smile. Reeves turned to Major Diana Wells, who led the ship's squad of Special Forces soldiers. Your team ready, Major? Wells nodded. Her face showed no emotion, but her eyes were sharp. Ready to give General Krell a proper greeting if we meet him. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Reeves said. This is a reconnaissance mission. We observe the weapon, gather intelligence, and return to Earth. He sat in the captain's chair and opened the ship-wide communication system. All hands, prepare for FTL jump. This is not a drill. Reeves nodded to his navigator. Take us to the Erebus system. The Defiance shuddered slightly as its engines powered up. Outside, the stars seemed to stretch into lines. Then, with a flash, the ship vanished from Earth's solar system. On Nexus Station, Ambassador Gray met secretly with Commander Thex in a quiet corner of the station's garden area. Thex was a tall, thin alien with pale blue skin and 4 eyes arranged vertically on his face. He had once been a high-ranking officer in the Concordat fleet. Your ship has departed for Erebus? Thex asked in a low voice. Gray nodded. Can you tell me anything more about what they'll find there? Thex looked around nervously. The Purgation Front has gathered a large fleet to protect Sunforge. General Krell commands from his flagship, the Dominion. Why are you helping us? Gray asked. Your people tried to conquer Earth. Thex's upper eyes narrowed. Krell is a fool who dreams of old glories. The Concordat was corrupt and dying before we ever found your world. Your people simply hastened its end. He leaned closer. Some of us see a different future, one where species work together rather than conquering each other. A noble thought, Gray said, but difficult to believe after what your people did to Earth. Not all of us supported the invasion, Thex said, and after seeing how your people fought, many of us would prefer to be your allies than your enemies. Their conversation was interrupted by Liaison Vera, who approached quickly. Ambassador Commander, Vera said urgently, you must leave. Station security is searching for both of you. What's happened? Gray asked. Agents of the Purgation Front have accused you of espionage. They demand your arrest. Vera's black eyes showed concern. This is just an excuse. They plan to kill you both. Gray and Thex followed Vera through hidden maintenance tunnels within the station. They emerged near the docking bays. My ship is here, Thex said, pointing to a small, sleek vessel. I can take us somewhere safe. What about my staff? Gray asked Vera. Already warned. They are making their way to your emergency escape shuttle. Vera handed Gray a small data device. Take this. It contains all the intelligence the Ashtari have gathered about Sunforge. Your Captain Reeves will need it. As alarms began to sound throughout the station, Gray thanked Vera and boarded Thex's ship. Through the viewport, he watched as Nexus Station grew smaller behind them. Where are we going? He asked Thex. To join your ship, the alien replied. I know shortcuts through Erebus that your captain will need. Gray looked out at the stars streaking past. The Purgation Front is making their move. Yes, Thex agreed. The war has already begun. In the Erebus system, the Defiance emerged from faster-than-light travel far from the binary stars at the system's center. The ship's stealth systems, improved versions of Concordat technology, immediately activated. On the bridge, Captain Reeves ordered passive scans of the system. What they found confirmed their worst fears. Massive energy readings from the smaller star, reported Dr. Reed, studying her instruments. They've built something around it, something huge. Ship count? Reeves asked his tactical officer. At least 50 warships patrolling the outer system. The inner system has twice that many. This is a major fleet operation. Reeves studied the tactical display. So much for the element of surprise. We need to get closer to that weapon, Doctor. Reed looked up from her console, her face pale. Captain, based on these readings, Sunforge is nearly operational. The energy output is growing. How long? Reed shook her head. Days, maybe hours. Not the 2 weeks we thought. Reeves gripped the arms of his chair. The Defiance was alone, deep in enemy territory, facing an entire fleet protecting a weapon that could destroy Earth. Plot a course through the asteroid belt, he ordered. We need to get close enough to see exactly what we're dealing with. As the Defiance moved silently through space, the crew could not know that Ambassador Gray and Commander Thex were racing to join them, or that back on Earth, Admiral Walker was preparing for the worst. The storm was no longer gathering. It had arrived. The UES Defiance moved slowly through the asteroid belt of the Erebus system. Captain Reeves stood on the bridge, studying the tactical display that showed their position relative to the massive construction around the smaller of the binary stars. Magnify. Sector 7, he ordered. The screen zoomed in on part of the structure orbiting the star. It looked like a giant metal ring with numerous stations attached to it. Energy pulses flowed from the star through conduits into the ring. What are we looking at, Dr. Reed? Reeves asked. Reed frowned at her readings. It's like nothing I've seen before. They're harvesting energy directly from the star and channeling it through those arrays. She looked up at Reeves. Based on the energy signatures, this device operates on principles similar to Concordat weapons, but on a vastly larger scale. Can it do what they claim? Reeves asked. Create a directed solar flare that could reach Earth? Reed nodded grimly. Yes. The physics are sound. With enough energy, they could generate an artificial solar flare and direct it through a series of focusing arrays. The resulting beam would maintain coherence over interstellar distances. Commander Wilson joined them. Captain, we've detected a command station at these coordinates. He pointed to a large structure at the edge of the construction zone. It appears to be coordinating the work on the weapon. Reeves turned to Major Wells, who stood nearby. Major, I need your team to infiltrate that station. We need information on Sunforge's operational timeline and defensive capabilities. Wells nodded. My team can insert using the stealth shuttle. What's our objective? Get in, download their operational data, and get out without being detected, Reeves said. We need to know exactly when this thing will be ready to fire. And if we're detected? Wells asked. Reeves looked at her steadily. Then complete the mission at all costs. 2 hours later, Major Wells and her team of 5 Special Forces soldiers approached the Purgation Front Command Station in a small shuttle with stealth technology. The shuttle was barely visible against the backdrop of space as it docked with an emergency airlock on the station's underside. Remember, we're here for information, not a firefight, Wells told her team as they prepared to enter the station. Move fast. Stay quiet. They cut through the airlock and entered the station. The corridors were designed for beings larger than humans, with high ceilings and wide doorways. The team moved silently, using handheld devices to track life signs and avoid patrols. Command center should be 2 levels up, whispered Sergeant Martinez, checking a small holographic map. They found a maintenance shaft and climbed up. As they emerged on the upper level, 2 alien guards turned a corner and spotted them. Before the aliens could sound an alarm, Wells and Martinez fired their silenced weapons. The guards fell without a sound. Drag them into that storage room, Wells ordered. We need to move faster now. They reached the command center's outer door. Through a small window, they could see a large room filled with alien technicians working at various stations. At the center was a holographic display of the Sunforge weapon rotating slowly. Too many to take out quietly, Martinez said. Wells nodded. We'll use the bypass device. Dr. Reed said it should tap into their systems without alerting them. Sergeant Rodriguez attached a small device to the wall near the door. Its screen lit up, showing alien symbols rapidly changing. It's working, Rodriguez said. I'm getting data flows to schematics and operational timelines. His face suddenly paled. Major, according to this, Sunforge will be operational in less than 18 hours. Copy everything, Wells ordered. As Rodriguez worked, Wells peered through the window again. A large alien with distinctive red markings on its armor entered the command center. The other aliens immediately stood at attention. That's General Krell, whispered Lieutenant Park. Intelligence was right. He's personally overseeing this operation. Wells watched as Krell examined the holographic display. He seemed angry, gesturing forcefully at the technicians. One of the aliens brought up a new display showing Earth. He's planning to target Earth as soon as the weapon is ready, Wells said. Rodriguez suddenly tensed. Major, security protocols just changed. They're sweeping the systems, and they'll detect our device any second. Disconnect now, Wells ordered. Do we have what we need? Most of it, Rodriguez said, removing the device. Enough. An alarm suddenly blared throughout the station. A voice spoke in an alien language. They know we're here, Martinez said. Wells made a quick decision. Park, Rodriguez, take the data and get back to the shuttle. The rest of us will create a diversion to cover your escape. Major, Park protested. Those aren't our orders. Die. Mission is to get that data back to the Defiance, Wells said firmly. Now go. As Park and Rodriguez reluctantly headed back toward the maintenance shaft, Wells led Martinez and the others in the opposite direction. Let's make some noise, she said, pulling out explosive charges from her pack. Captain Reeves paced the bridge. Of the Defiance, the stealth shuttle had been gone for 3 hours, longer than planned. Any communication from Major Wells? He asked for the 3rd time. Nothing yet, sir, the communications officer replied. Wait, I'm picking up a transmission. It's Lieutenant Park. Park's voice came through, broken by static. Defiance, this is Park. We have the data, station security alerted, Major Wells and team providing diversion, requesting immediate pickup. Reeves turned to his tactical officer. Where are they? I have the shuttle's beacon, sir. They're moving away from the station, but they're being pursued by 2 patrol craft. Reeves faced a terrible choice. If he moved the Defiance to rescue the shuttle, they would lose their stealth advantage. The entire Purgation Front fleet would know they were there. Helm, set course to intercept the shuttle, he ordered. Weapons, prepare to engage those patrol. Craft, sir, the tactical officer warned. That will expose our position. I know, Reeves said grimly. But we need that data, and I won't abandon our people. The Defiance moved out from behind the asteroid that had concealed it. Its engines flared as it accelerated toward the fleeing shuttle. Enemy patrol craft in range, reported the weapons officer. Take them out, Reeves ordered. The Defiance fired its main weapons. Beams of energy lanced across space, destroying both patrol craft instantly. The stealth shuttle, now clear of pursuers, adjusted course toward the Defiance. Sir, we're being scanned by multiple enemy vessels, the tactical officer reported urgently. They've detected us. Reeves watched as dozens of enemy ships began, moving toward their position. Get that shuttle aboard now. Then prepare for emergency jump to light speed. The shuttle docked quickly. Lieutenant Park and Sergeant Rodriguez rushed onto the bridge, looking exhausted and grim. Where's Major Wells? Reeves asked. Park handed him a data device. She stayed behind to ensure we got out, sir. Her last order was to deliver this to you. Reeves took the device. Dr. Reed, analyze this immediately. He turned back to Park. Did any of them make it? Park shook his head. The command station exploded as we were leaving. They took out a significant part of it, sir. Major Wells completed her mission. A moment of silence fell on the bridge. Then the tactical officer's voice broke through. Captain, enemy vessels closing from all directions. We're surrounded. On the main screen, dozens of Purgation Front warships moved to encircle the Defiance. Leading them was a massive vessel that dwarfed the others. The Dominion, Rodriguez said quietly. General Krell's flagship. Dr. Reed looked up from her console, her face pale. Captain, I've analyzed the data. Sunforge is ready for initial testing now. They've accelerated the timetable. And, she hesitated. They're targeting Earth first. Reeves stared at the approaching enemy fleet. They were outgunned and surrounded. But Earth's survival depended on stopping that weapon. Helm, plot a direct course to Sunforge, he ordered. Sir? The helmsman questioned. Through the enemy fleet? Exactly, Reeves said, his artificial right hand clenched into a fist. Prepare the Prometheus device. The bridge crew fell silent. They all knew what the Prometheus device was designed to do. We may not make it back from this, Reeves said quietly, but Earth will. The Defiance turned toward the heart of the Erebus system, its engines glowing brightly as it accelerated toward the waiting enemy fleet. Behind them, unnoticed in the chaos, a small ship emerged from lightspeed. Ambassador Gray and Commander Thex had arrived, just in time to see the battle begin. The UES Defiance raced toward the heart of the Erebus system, its engines pushed beyond safe limits. Behind it, the Purgation Front fleet gave chase, led by General Krell's massive flagship, the Dominion. On the bridge, Captain Reeves gripped the arms of his command chair as the ship shuddered under enemy fire. Shields at 60%, reported Commander Wilson. We can't take much more of this. Stay on course, Reeves ordered. How long until we're in range of Sunforge? 3 minutes, Captain, the helmsman answered. Dr. Reed worked frantically at her console. The Prometheus device is ready, but we need to get closer. It has to disrupt the star's magnetic field at precisely the right point. Lieutenant Park, who had barely had time to catch his breath since returning from the command station mission, suddenly called out from the communications station. Captain, I'm picking up a transmission on a concordant frequency. Ignore it, Reeves said. Focus on, sir, it's addressed specifically to us, using Earth military protocols. The source claims to be Ambassador Gray. Reeves hesitated. Put it through. Gray's voice filled the bridge. Defiance, this is Ambassador Gray aboard Commander Thex's vessel. We have crucial information about Sunforge's weaknesses. Do not, repeat, do not deploy the Prometheus device yet. Ambassador, we're a little busy right now. Reeves replied as the ship rocked from another hit. Captain, Commander Thex knows a way to disable Sunforge without using the Prometheus. His ship has a stealth system more advanced than yours. We can approach undetected while you draw their fire. Reeves glanced at Dr. Reed, who nodded. It's possible. The Prometheus is untested at full power. We don't know what might happen. After a moment's thought, Reeves made his decision. Ambassador, what's your plan? Thex can get us close to Sunforge's control nexus, Gray explained. The weapon draws power through 3 main conduits. If we can overload even one of them, the entire system will fail catastrophically. And how exactly do we do that? Reeves asked. Commander Thex's voice joined the conversation. My ship carries a quantum disruptor, a device designed to shut down concordant technology in case of rebellion. It will work on Sunforge. Another explosion rocked the Defiance. Shields at 40%, Wilson reported grimly. We'll keep them. Busy, Reeves decided. How much time do you need? 10 minutes, Thex replied. Reeves looked at his tactical display. The Defiance was taking heavy fire, and Krell's flagship was closing in. You've got 8. Make them count. As Thex's small ship slipped undetected toward Sunforge, Reeves ordered the Defiance to change course. Sir? The helmsman questioned. Take us straight at the Dominion, Reeves ordered. Let's introduce ourselves to General Krell. Aboard Thex's ship, Ambassador Gray held on as they maneuvered through the massive structure of Sunforge. The quantum disruptor, a cylinder about the size of a human arm, sat secured in a compartment near him. Why are you really helping us? Gray asked Thex as they flew. This goes beyond just hating General Krell. Thex's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. A gesture Gray had learned indicated thoughtfulness among his species. The old ways are failing, Thex said simply. The Concordat conquered and consumed for centuries. We called it progress, but it was just expansion without purpose. He guided the ship through a narrow gap between 2 massive energy collectors. Your species showed there is another way. You fought not to conquer, but to survive. You took our technology not to dominate others, but to protect yourselves. Gray watched as they approached a massive junction where energy from the star flowed through 3 enormous conduits. That is where we must place the disruptor, Thex said. The central control nexus. Will your ship be safe when it goes off? Gray asked. Thex made a sound that might have been a laugh. No. The energy backlash will destroy everything within 500,000 kilometers. Gray stared at him. That's a suicide mission. Yes, Thex agreed calmly, but it will save both our peoples. The Defiance slammed into the side of the Dominion, its remaining weapons firing at point-blank range. On the bridge, Reeves held on as systems sparked and failed around him. Direct hit on their main power core, Wilson shouted over the alarms. Shields failing, announced the tactical officer. Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7. Reeves activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands prepare to abandon ship. Get to the escape pods. Dr. Reed looked up from her console. Captain, Sunforge is powering up. They're starting the firing sequence. Reeves checked the time. Gray and Thex had only been gone for 6 minutes. Can we still deploy the Prometheus device? He asked Reed. She shook her head. The launch system was damaged in the attack. On the main screen, they could see the massive arrays of Sunforge beginning to glow as they charged with energy from the star. In minutes, they would release a directed solar flare that would travel faster than light to Earth, burning away its atmosphere and killing all life on the planet. Sir, Park called out, I'm receiving a transmission from General Krell. The screen changed to show the alien general. His reptilian features were set in what might have been a smile. Human captain, Krell said, his voice translated by the ship's computer. You have fought well, but your primitive vessel is no match for the might of the Purgation Front. Surrender now, and I will allow your crew to witness the cleansing of your world before you join them in death. Reeves stood, despite the ship, shaking around him. Earth warned you, General. We said what would happen if you attacked us again. Krell made a dismissive gesture. Empty threats from a primitive species. Your warning means nothing. That's where you're wrong, Reeves said, calmly. Our warning wasn't empty. and you're about to find out exactly what happens when you ignore it. At that moment, a blinding flash of light erupted from the center of Sunforge. The massive weapon's structure began to break apart as energy surged back through its systems. "What is happening?" Krell demanded, his composure breaking. "What have you done?" Reeves allowed himself a small smile. "We annihilated you, just like we promised." The transmission cut off as Sunforge collapsed in on itself. The energy it had been drawing from the star rebounded through the system, creating a shockwave that tore through the Purgation Front fleet. "All hands to escape pods now," Reeves ordered as the Defiance began to break apart. 3 months later, Admiral Walker stood before the newly formed Galactic Council on Nexus Station. Representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations watched as he approached the central podium. Walker wore his formal uniform, decorated with medals from the invasion war. Behind him stood Ambassador Gray, now recovered from his injuries, and Dr. Reed, who had been promoted for her work analyzing alien technology. 3 months ago, Walker began, a coalition called the Purgation Front attempted to destroy Earth with a superweapon. They failed, thanks to the bravery of the crew of the UES Defiance and our allies. He looked around the chamber at the assembled aliens. Most watched with interest. Some showed clear hostility. Others, like Liaison Vera of the Ashtari, nodded in approval. Twice now alien forces have attacked Earth. Twice we have defended ourselves. Walker's voice grew harder. "I am here today to restate our warning and to offer a choice." He pressed a button on the podium. A holographic display appeared, showing Earth's new defense network. Hundreds of platforms in orbit around the planet and throughout the solar system, all equipped with weapons based on those used to destroy Sunforge. "Earth does not seek war," Walker continued. "We do not want conquest. We only want to live in peace, to trade with those who wish to trade, to learn from those willing to teach, and to share what we know with those who ask." He paused, looking directly at the representatives from the remaining Purgation Front species. "But if attacked again, our response will be immediate and final. There will not be a third warning." The chamber was silent. Then Vera of the Ashtari stood. "The Ashtari support peace with Earth," the blue-skinned alien announced. "We have seen what humans can accomplish, both in war and in diplomacy. We choose alliance over conflict." One by one, other representatives stood to voice their support. Not all, but enough. As the session ended, Gray approached Walker. "Do you think they'll listen this time?" Walker watched as the aliens filed out of the chamber, talking among themselves. "Some will. The others." He touched the holographic display, rotating the image of Earth surrounded by its defenses. "The others now know we weren't bluffing." Back on Earth, cities were being rebuilt. Alien technology had accelerated recovery efforts and opened new frontiers in science, medicine, and quality of life. The first civilian faster-than-light ship was preparing for its maiden voyage to Proxima Centauri, carrying scientists and explorers, eager to see what lay beyond their solar system. In a memorial garden in what was once London, a monument had been erected to the crew of the Defiance and to Commander Thex. Captain Reeves, one of the few survivors, often visited. His artificial arm had been replaced with an even more advanced model, and he was training crews for Earth's growing fleet of ships. The warning remained, but alongside it grew something new: the possibility of peace in a galaxy that had known, mostly, war. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not by conquering, but by refusing to be conquered, and that, perhaps, was the greatest victory of all. Commander Jack Wilson stood at the large viewing window of Galactic Union Station 7, watching the stars. His tall figure cast a long shadow across the polished floor. 20 years in space had given him sharp eyes and a serious face. Right now, those eyes were filled with worry. "Commander, you need to see this," said Officer Anna Reed as she rushed into the room. Her normally calm voice shook slightly. She handed him a data pad with red flashing alerts. Jack took the pad and read quickly. His eyes grew wide. "This can't be right. Check it again." "We did, sir. 3 times." Anna pointed to the numbers on the screen. The dangerous fleet is gone. All 57 ships, they just vanished. The dangerous fleet was the most feared group of warships in the outer systems. For over 30 years they had attacked trading ships, destroyed small colonies, and slipped away before anyone could catch them. They were brutal, efficient, and always one step ahead of the Galactic Union forces. Jack walked to the main control panel and pressed several buttons. A large map of the galaxy appeared in the center of the room. Tiny dots of light showed the last known locations of the dangerous fleet. Where were they last seen? He asked, though he already knew the answer. Anna touched the map, making it zoom in on a small yellow star. Here, sir, near the Sol system. Jack frowned. The Sol system was considered unimportant by the Galactic Union. It had only one inhabited planet called Earth. The humans there were thought to be primitive. They had basic space travel, but nothing close to the faster-than-light ships used by the rest of the galaxy. The Union classified Earth as a Level 2 civilization, not yet ready for official contact. Why would the dangerous fleet go there? Jack wondered aloud. There's nothing of value in that system. The door opened again, and 3 more officers entered. Tom Reed, the tech specialist and Anna's brother. Maria Torres, the team's xenobiologist, and Ben Stone, head of security. They all looked serious. I called an emergency meeting, Anna explained. This is too important to wait. Jack nodded and turned to the others. The dangerous fleet has vanished near Earth. I need ideas. Ben spoke first, his deep voice filling the room. Maybe they were destroyed. A natural space event, perhaps? Tom shook his head. Not likely. We'd see debris, energy signatures, something. But there's nothing. It's like they were erased. Or hidden, Maria suggested. But Earth doesn't have that kind of technology. They're still using chemical rockets and basic ion drives. Jack walked back to the window thinking. Something didn't add up. 57 warships don't just disappear. What does the Council say? Maria asked. The Council doesn't know yet, Jack replied. I wanted our team to assess the situation first. Anna looked surprised. Sir, protocol requires immediate... I know the protocol, Officer Reed. Jack cut her off. But if we tell the Council now, they'll send a full battle group to Earth. If I'm wrong, we risk exposing ourselves to a pre-contact civilization. If I'm right, well, I want to know what we're dealing with first. The room fell silent as everyone considered his words. You want to go to Earth, Ben said. It wasn't a question. Jack nodded. Small team. Quick reconnaissance. We go in quiet, find out what happened to the fleet, and report back. The Council won't approve, Tom warned. Then we don't ask them, Jack said firmly. This mission is off the books. Volunteers only. He looked around the room, meeting each person's eyes. No one looked away. I'm in, Ben said first, crossing his arms. Me too, added Maria. Anna and Tom exchanged glances. We're with you, Commander, Anna said for both of them. Jack felt a small weight lift from his shoulders. He had the best team in the Union, smart, loyal, and brave. If anyone could solve this mystery, they could. Good. We leave in 6 hours. Pack light, and tell no one where we're going. 3 days later, their small scout ship approached the outer edge of the Sol system. They had traveled faster than any Earthship could detect, and their advanced cloaking technology made them invisible to primitive radar systems. Scan the system, Jack ordered, as they passed the gas giant called Neptune. Tom's fingers flew over the control panel. 8 planets. Standard star, nothing unusual, and wait. He frowned and adjusted something on his screen. That's odd. What is it? Jack asked, moving to look over his shoulder. I'm picking up energy readings from Earth and its moon that shouldn't be there. Tom pointed to spikes on his display. If Earth is a level 2 civilization, these readings make no sense. They're using energy in ways that, well, frankly, in ways that we don't even fully understand. Jack felt his heart beat faster. Could it be the dangerous fleet? Maybe, Tom said, not sounding convinced. But these patterns look different, more advanced, actually. As they moved closer to Earth, passing the red planet Mars, Their sensors began to pick up more unusual readings. "Commander," Anna called from her station. "I'm detecting thousands of small objects in orbit around Earth." "Satellites?" Jack asked. "Too many to be just satellites," she replied. "And they're moving in strange patterns." Ben, who had been quiet until now, suddenly pointed at his security screen. "Something's approaching us fast." "That's impossible," Tom said. "Nothing on Earth should be able to detect us, let alone—" A flash of light filled their viewports, temporarily blinding everyone. When Jack could see again, he felt his blood run cold. Their ship was surrounded by sleek, black vessels that had appeared from nowhere. The ships were unlike anything in the Union fleet. Smoother, with no visible engines or weapons, yet somehow projecting an aura of terrible power. "Our cloaking system is down," Tom reported, his voice tight with tension. "All systems are being held in some kind of energy field." A voice came through their communication system, speaking perfect Union Standard language. "Galactic Union scout ship, this is Captain Lisa Miller of the Earth Defense Force. Your vessel has entered restricted space without authorization. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded." Jack looked at his team, seeing his own shock reflected in their faces. Earth wasn't primitive at all. Somehow the humans had fooled the entire Galactic Union. "Open a channel," Jack told Anna. When she nodded, he spoke clearly. "This is Commander Jack Wilson of the Galactic Union. We're on a peaceful mission investigating the disappearance of ships in this region." There was a pause before the reply came. "Commander Wilson, we know why you're here. The ships you're looking for are in our custody. Please cooperate and no harm will come to you or your crew." Jack's mind raced with questions. How had Earth captured the most dangerous fleet in the galaxy? Why had they hidden their true technology level? And most importantly, what other secrets was this primitive planet keeping? "We'll cooperate," Jack said finally. He had no choice. Their small scout ship was completely at the mercy of these unexpected Earth forces. As a docking tube extended from the nearest Earth ship, Jack prepared his team. "Stay alert, follow my lead, and say nothing about the Union Council. Something tells me we've stumbled onto a secret much bigger than missing ships." The airlock opened, revealing their first look at Earth's true face, and the beginning of a discovery that would shake the foundations of the galaxy. The airlock hissed open. Commander Jack Wilson stood straight, hiding his nervousness as 5 figures entered their ship. 4 wore black uniforms and carried strange weapons that glowed faintly blue. The 5th person, a woman with short brown hair and confident eyes, stepped forward. "Commander Wilson, I'm Captain Lisa Miller, Earth Defense Force." Her voice was firm but not unfriendly. "Welcome to Earth space, though I wish the circumstances were different." Jack kept his face neutral. "Captain Miller, I must say this is unexpected. The Galactic Union believes Earth to be a level 2 civilization." Lisa's mouth curved into a small smile. "Yes, we know what the Union thinks of us. That's been useful." She motioned to her guards, who lowered their weapons slightly. "Your team will come with us. We need to talk somewhere more secure." Ben, the security chief, moved closer to Jack. "Commander, I advise caution." "We don't have much choice, Ben," Jack replied quietly. He turned back to Lisa. "We'll come peacefully, but I need assurances my crew will be safe." "You have my word," Lisa said. "This isn't a capture. It's a conversation that's been a long time coming." Jack nodded to his team, and they followed the Earth soldiers through the docking tube into the black ship. The inside was nothing like Jack expected. The walls seemed to flow like liquid metal, and there were no visible control panels or screens. The air felt charged with energy. Tom whispered, "This technology, it's beyond anything in the Union." "Keep that to yourself for now," Jack warned. They were led to a large room with a round table. The walls were transparent, giving them a clear view of Earth below. The blue and green planet looked peaceful from this distance, completely at odds with the advanced warships surrounding them. "Please sit," Lisa said, gesturing to the chairs. As they sat, a holographic display appeared above the table, showing the solar system. "I know you have questions. I'll answer what I can. Jack leaned forward. Let's start with the obvious. How has Earth hidden its true technology level from the Galactic Union for so long? Lisa touched the hologram, and it zoomed in on Earth. Advanced shielding technology. Everything we build beyond Level 2 standards is hidden behind energy fields that absorb and redirect scanning beams. To outside observers, we appear to be struggling with basic rocket science. But why? Asked Maria, unable to contain her curiosity. Why pretend to be primitive? Lisa's expression grew serious. History lesson, short version. 300 years ago, your Union wasn't the first alien group to find Earth. We had visitors who were less peaceful than you. The hologram changed to show an ancient battle. Strange ships attacking Earth cities. They assumed we were easy prey, Lisa continued. They were wrong. We fought back, won, and captured their technology. That's when we made a decision that shapes our policy to this day. Earth would advance in secret. We would watch the stars but not announce ourselves until we were ready. Jack tried to process this information. That doesn't explain the dangerous fleet. Those ships have terrorized the outer systems for decades. What do they have to do with Earth? Lisa stood and walked to the window. Those ships aren't what you think they are. We've been tracking them for years. They're controlled by something far worse than pirates or rogue soldiers. Controlled by what? Jack asked, feeling a chill run down his spine. Before Lisa could answer, the door opened. A tall man with gray hair entered. He had the look of someone used to giving orders and having them obeyed. I'll take it from here, Captain, he said to Lisa, who nodded and stepped aside. Commander Wilson, I'm Director James Cooper of Earth Special Intelligence. Your arrival has accelerated our timetable, but perhaps that's for the best. Cooper sat at the head of the table. You came looking for the dangerous fleet. 2 weeks ago, we captured all 57 ships in a coordinated operation. The crews have been detained and are being questioned. How did you manage that? Ben asked. Those ships have the best stealth and weapon systems in the galaxy. Cooper smiled thinly. Not the best, clearly. Earth has been advancing our technology in isolation for centuries. We've taken different paths than the Galactic Union, discovered principles you've overlooked. The hologram changed again, showing the moon. Parts of it seemed to open, revealing massive structures hidden beneath the surface. This is Luna Base, our main defense headquarters, Cooper explained. We have similar facilities throughout the solar system, all concealed from outside. Detection. Tom's eyes were wide. The energy signatures I detected. Just the tip of the iceberg, Cooper said. What you detected was what we allow to be seen. Maria leaned forward. Director Cooper, this is fascinating. But why reveal yourselves to us now? You could have destroyed our ship or simply turned us away. Cooper's face grew grim. Because the threat posed by the dangerous fleet is real, but not in the way you think. The ships themselves were just tools. It's who was controlling them that matters. He tapped the table and the hologram showed one of the captured ships. Inside were beings unlike any Jack had seen before, tall with gray skin that seemed to shift and change like smoke. We call them the Void Harbingers, Cooper said. They're not from this galaxy. They've been infiltrating various worlds, including some in your Union. The dangerous fleet was just one of their operations. Jack felt the blood drain from his face. Are you saying there's been an alien infiltration in Union space, and no one knows? Exactly, Cooper replied. We've been monitoring them for decades. They're patient, subtle, and extremely dangerous. They manipulate other species into conflicts, weaken civilizations from within, and prepare them for something worse. Anna, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. Why didn't Earth warn the Union? Cooper gave her a long look. Would you have believed us? A primitive world suddenly claiming to have discovered an invisible alien threat? Besides, we needed to understand what we were dealing with first. He stood and walked to a wall that suddenly became transparent, revealing a massive hangar below. Hundreds of ships, far more advanced than anything Jack had seen in the Union fleet, were lined up in perfect rows. This is just one of Earth's defense fleets, Cooper said. We built them not to conquer but to protect. Now we face a choice. He turned back to Jack and his team. The Void Harbingers know we've captured their ships. Soon, they'll realize their agents are missing. They'll come looking, and when they do, they won't be subtle anymore. Jack looked at the Earth fleet below, then at his team. They all showed the same mix of awe and concern he felt. "What are you proposing, Director?" Jack asked. "An alliance," Cooper replied simply. "Earth is ready to join the galactic community, but on equal terms. We need the Union's reach and resources. The Union needs our technology and knowledge of the enemy." Cooper's eyes fixed on Jack's. "You came here looking for missing ships. You found a lost branch of humanity that took a different path. Now you need to decide. Will you help us convince the Union Council that Earth isn't their enemy, before the real enemy strikes?" Jack thought of the Council, with their rigid rules and slow decision-making. Convincing them would be the hardest mission of his career. But looking at the Earth fleet and thinking of the mysterious Void Harbingers, he knew there was only one choice. "Tell me everything you know about these Harbingers," Jack said. "If we're going to face the Council together, we need the full story." Cooper nodded and pressed his hand to the table. The room darkened as a new hologram appeared, a detailed map of the galaxy with hundreds of red points blinking ominously across Union space. "These," Cooper said gravely, "are all the places we've detected Harbinger activity. As you can see, Commander, we have much to discuss." The underground facility beneath the Pacific Ocean was unlike anything Jack Wilson and his team had ever seen. After their meeting on the ship, Director Cooper had brought them to Earth via a transport system that seemed to bend space itself, arriving in seconds rather than hours. Now they stood in a vast chamber with a ceiling so high it vanished into shadows. The walls glowed with a soft blue light, and thousands of people worked at stations that floated in midair. Through enormous windows, they could see the dark ocean waters and strange machines moving outside. "Welcome to Atlantis Base," Cooper said, watching their amazed faces. "One of Earth's oldest and largest facilities." "Atlantis?" Maria asked. "Like the myth?" Cooper nodded. "We borrowed the name. Seemed fitting for an underwater city. This base has been active for over 200 years, completely hidden from both Earth's general population and outside observers." Tom touched one of the floating screens, and it responded to his fingers expanding to show complex data. "This technology, it's beyond anything the Union has." "Different path, different results," Cooper replied. "While the Union focused on expanding outward, we focused on understanding the fundamental nature of reality. Our isolation forced us to be creative." Jack was trying to absorb everything he saw. "You mentioned the first aliens who came to Earth. What happened to them?" Cooper led them down a long corridor lined with various artifacts behind energy fields. "This is our history section. You'll find your answers here." He stopped at a display showing a damaged ship of unfamiliar design. This arrived on Earth in 2072, about 300 years ago. Inside were beings we now know were scouts for a race called the Harvesters. They didn't come in peace. Images appeared showing battles in various Earth cities. The aliens had technology far beyond what humans possessed at that time. They attacked major population centers expecting an easy victory, Cooper continued. But humans have always been good at two things: adapting and fighting back. We captured one of their ships, studied their technology, and within a year built our own versions. "In just a year?" Ben asked, clearly skeptical. "That's impossible." "For most species, yes," Cooper agreed. "But humanity has a unique trait. When faced with extinction, we become extremely motivated. Our scientists worked around the clock. Our nations put aside their differences. We reversed engineered their weapons, their shields, their drives." He led them deeper into the facility to a section that seemed older, with thicker walls and heavier security. "This is where we made our most important discovery," Cooper said, placing his hand on a scanner. A massive door slid open, revealing a room with a single pedestal in the center. On it floated a small crystal that pulsed with inner light. "The Harvesters' ships were powered by these," Cooper explained. "We call them quantum cores. But while they used them only as power sources, we discovered they were much more keys to understanding the fundamental forces of the universe. Jack stared at the crystal. And this led to your technological leap? Exactly. We learned that reality is more flexible than previously understood. Space, time, energy, they're all connected in ways the Union hasn't discovered yet. This knowledge allowed us to advance centuries beyond what would have been our normal development. Maria stepped closer to the crystal. And you kept all this secret? From your own people? Cooper's face grew serious. At first, it was necessary. The panic would have been devastating. Later, it became policy. A small group of people from all nations formed what became the Earth Defense Force, a secret organization dedicated to protecting humanity from outside threats. And from itself, Anna added quietly. Cooper nodded. Yes, human history is full of technologies being weaponized against other humans. The Council decided these discoveries were too powerful to risk another world war. As they left the secure room, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed along the corridors. Director Cooper to Command Center. Immediately, a voice announced over speakers. Cooper's face hardened. Follow me, he ordered, his pace quickening. They rushed through several security checkpoints until they reached a circular room filled with officers monitoring dozens of screens. In the center was a holographic display of the solar system. Report, Cooper demanded. A woman in a blue uniform turned to him. Sir, we've detected unusual activity at the edge of the system. The prisoners from the dangerous fleet. They're dying. All of them? Cooper asked sharply. Yes, sir, simultaneously. Their bodies are dissolving. Cooper swore under his breath. They've been activated. Bring up the quantum signature detectors. The hologram changed to show waves of energy spreading through the solar system. What are we looking at? Jack asked. Cooper's voice was grim. A quantum signal. The Void Harbingers controlling the fleet members just triggered some kind of self-destruct protocol. But the energy release is creating a beacon. A beacon for what? Ben asked. For them. Cooper pointed to the farthest edge of the display where a distortion was forming. They're coming. Jack stepped closer to the hologram. Director, it's time you told us everything. Who exactly are these Void Harbingers? Cooper looked at Jack and his team, then at his officers. After a moment, he nodded. You're right, you need to know what we're facing. He turned to his staff. Activate Protocol Omega. Full defense readiness. Then give us the room. When the officers had left, Cooper sealed the doors and activated additional security measures. The hologram shifted again, showing a galactic map with timeline markers. What I'm about to tell you is known to fewer than 100 people on Earth, Cooper began. The Void Harbingers aren't just another alien species. They're what we believe to be the remains of the very first civilization in our galaxy. Tom's eyes widened. The precursors, they're just a myth. Not a myth, Cooper said. About 12 billion years ago, a race evolved to the point where they transcended physical form. They became beings of pure energy and consciousness. For billions of years, they watched new species evolve, occasionally guiding them. The hologram showed the rise and fall of various civilizations across the galaxy. About 1 million years ago, something changed. A faction of these beings began to see younger races as threats or resources rather than children to nurture. Civil war erupted among them. The ones we call Void Harbingers lost and were banished to the space between galaxies. And now they're back, Maria said softly. Yes. They began returning about 500 years ago, taking physical form again, by possessing other species. They've been working slowly, carefully, manipulating events across the galaxy to prepare for their full return. Jack felt a chill run through him. The dangerous fleet was just one part of their plan, Cooper confirmed. They've infiltrated dozens of worlds, including several in the Union Council itself. Anna looked horrified. How do you know all this? Cooper hesitated, then pressed a sequence on the control panel. A hidden door opened in the wall of the command center. From it emerged a tall, thin being that glowed with soft light. Because, Cooper said, we have allies from the other faction. Meet Guardian, one of the original precursors who has been helping Earth prepare for this moment. The glowing being nodded to them. When it spoke, the voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. We have watched your people for millennia, Guardian said. Of all the young races, humans showed the most potential, adaptable, creative, resilient. When we detected the return of our fallen brethren, we knew humanity would be crucial in the coming conflict. Jack stared at the being, struggling to process everything. Why Earth? Why not warn the whole galaxy? The Harbingers have agents everywhere, Guardian explained. Open warning would have triggered their plans before we were ready. Earth was isolated enough to develop in secret, yet resourceful enough to advance quickly once guided. Cooper turned, back to the hologram, which now showed the distortion growing at the edge of the solar system. And now the moment we've prepared for has arrived sooner than expected. The Harbingers know we've captured their agents. They're coming in force. What do we do? Jack asked. You must return to the Union, Guardian said. Warn them. Show them the truth. Earth cannot stand alone against what is coming. Cooper nodded, in agreement. We've prepared for this day, Commander Wilson. But our plans required more time. Now we need the Union's help, just as they need ours. Jack looked at his team. They all showed determination despite their shock. We'll help, Jack promised. But the Council won't believe us without proof. Cooper smiled grimly. Oh, we'll give you proof. Guardian, prepare the memory crystal. As the glowing being moved to a console, Cooper turned back to Jack. Commander, you're about to become the messenger of the most important news in galactic history. The question is, will the Union listen before it's too late? Red alert sirens wailed throughout Atlantis base. Commander Jack Wilson watched as Earth's defense personnel moved with practiced efficiency, their faces set with determination rather than panic. Director Cooper stood at the center of the command room, issuing orders in a calm, steady voice despite the crisis unfolding. All defense platforms to active status. Deploy the shield network around the inner system. Prepare evacuation protocols for civilian outposts beyond Mars. Cooper turned to a large screen showing Earth's hidden fleet mobilizing from bases on the Moon, Mars, and various asteroid installations. Jack had never seen such a coordinated response, not even in the most elite Union forces. These people had trained for this moment for generations. Guardian, the luminous precursor being, floated beside Cooper, its light pulsing with urgency. The dimensional tear is growing faster than predicted. We have less than 6 hours before the first wave arrives. Cooper nodded grimly. Then we stick to the plan. Commander Wilson and his team need to leave immediately. He faced Jack. Your mission is now the most important one in human history. You must convince the Union Council to send help. Jack felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. I'll need something more than just my word. The Council won't believe this without proof. You'll have it, Cooper assured him. He held out a small crystal similar to the one they had seen earlier, but this one glowed with a deep purple light. This memory crystal contains everything. Our history, evidence of the Harbingers' infiltration and data on their weaknesses. Guardian helped us prepare it. Guardian moved closer. The crystal also carries my energy signature. The Council has old records of my kind. They will recognize its authenticity. Tom examined the crystal without touching it. How do we access the information? It will interface with any Union computer system, Guardian explained. But be warned, the Harbingers have agents in the Council. They will try to stop you from presenting this evidence. Ben, ever the security chief, frowned. How will we know who to trust? You won't, Cooper said bluntly. That's what makes this so dangerous. The Harbingers can assume almost perfect copies of whoever they possess, but they cannot replicate quantum brain patterns. This device, he handed Jack a small scanner, will help you identify them. It's crude but effective at close range. Maria looked at the scanner with scientific interest. How does it work? It detects the subtle energy distortions around possessed individuals, Guardian answered. The readings are faint but unmistakable if you know what to look for. Anna, who had been studying the tactical displays, turned to them with concern. Even if we convince the Council, can their ships get here in time? The tear is already forming. Cooper exchanged looks with Guardian before answering. No. Union ships are too slow. But once you show them the evidence, give them these coordinates. He handed Jack a data chip. It's the location of a hidden Earth outpost near the Council homeworld. We have ships there ready to transport their forces. You have bases near the Council? Jack asked, shocked. How long have you been operating in Union space? 70 years, Cooper admitted. We needed to monitor the Harbinger's movements. Our bases are small, automated, and completely cloaked. Before Jack could respond, the entire facility shook violently. Lights flickered and several consoles erupted in sparks. Status report, Cooper demanded. An officer's voice came through, the speakers tight with tension. Sir, the Void Harbingers have launched an attack on our outer system defenses. They've somehow accelerated their arrival. The Jupiter outpost is under heavy fire. Cooper swore under his breath. Show me. The main screen changed to display Jupiter and its moons. Dark ships with strange, shifting shapes were pouring through a tear in space near the giant planet. Earth's defense platforms were firing back, but several had already gone dark. They're not supposed to have this kind of firepower yet, Cooper said, his composure slipping for the first time. Something's wrong. Guardian's light flickered anxiously. They've evolved their technology beyond our predictions. This changes everything. Jack stepped forward. We need to leave now. Every minute counts. Cooper nodded sharply. Captain Miller will take you back to your ship. We've upgraded its engines and added some of our shield technology. It should get you to the Council faster than any Union vessel. Lisa Miller appeared at the doorway, her uniform now bearing additional combat gear. Your ship is ready, Commander. We need to move quickly. As they prepared to leave, Guardian approached Jack. Commander Wilson, there is one more thing you must know. The being's light dimmed to a somber glow. The Harbingers aren't just invaders. They're harvesters of consciousness. They don't just kill their victims. They absorb them. Every being they take makes them stronger. Jack felt cold at this revelation. Is there any way to free those who've been taken? No, Guardian said sadly. Once absorbed, consciousness cannot be restored. That's why we must stop them here now, before they claim more worlds. Another explosion rocked the base, closer this time. Warning lights flashed across the command center. They've broken through the outer defenses, someone shouted. Multiple hostiles approaching Earth orbit. Cooper turned to Jack and his team. Go. We'll hold them here as long as we can. Jack hesitated. Director, your forces are outmatched. Let us help. Cooper shook his head firmly. Your mission is more important than any battle here. If the Union doesn't join this fight, the entire galaxy will fall. He extended his hand. Good luck, Commander. Jack clasped Cooper's hand, then turned to his team. Let's move. They followed Captain Miller through corridors now filled with rushing personnel and the distant sounds of battle. Emergency lights cast everything in a red glow as they hurried toward the transport bay. The situation at Jupiter is worse than they're admitting, Miller told them as they ran. Those ships, they're unlike anything we've faced in our simulations. It's like they're adapting to our weapons in real time. They reached the bay where their upgraded scout ship waited. It now bore subtle reinforcements and new equipment that hummed with power. The coordinates for the Union Council and our hidden base are already programmed in, Miller explained as they boarded. The ship knows what to do, just don't override the navigation system. As Jack's team strapped in, Miller paused at the doorway. Commander, if you don't succeed, we will, Jack promised. Miller nodded once, then sealed the hatch. The ship lifted off, its new engines barely making a sound. Through the viewports, they could see Earth's defense fleet engaging the first wave of Harbinger vessels. Energy weapons lit up the space around the planet, beautiful and terrible. Breaking orbit, Tom announced from the pilot's seat. New engines responding perfectly. We'll reach Union space in under 40 hours. As they accelerated away from Earth, a massive explosion bloomed near the moon. One of Earth's largest defense platforms had detonated, taking several Harbinger ships with it. They're sacrificing their outer defenses, Ben observed grimly. Buying us time. Jack clutched the memory crystal, feeling its weight both physical and symbolic. And we can't waste it. Full speed to the Council. The ship surged forward, its enhanced engines pushing it faster than any Union vessel. Behind them, the battle for Earth raged, while ahead lay an equally dangerous mission, convincing a skeptical council that the galaxy's greatest threat had returned, and that humanity's secret strength might be their only hope for survival. They cleared the solar system. Jack looked one last time at the brilliant blue planet now surrounded by the flashes of battle. Hold on, Earth, he whispered. We'll bring back help. The Galactic Union Council chamber was impressive by any standard. A vast dome with seats for representatives from over 500 worlds arranged in rising tiers. Ornate pillars of rare metals supported the ceiling, which displayed a perfect, holographic map of the known galaxy. Normally, Jack Wilson would have felt honored to stand at the speaker's podium, but today he only felt urgency. Members of the Council, Jack began, his voice steady despite his exhaustion. 40 hours of high-speed travel had left him and his team drained, but there was no time to rest. I come before you with information of critical importance to the security of all our worlds. The head counselor, an elderly being from the ancient Zell civilization, leaned forward. Commander Wilson, you were not authorized to visit Earth, yet you return with wild claims of advanced human technology and invisible invaders. The Council requires more than just your word. Jack nodded. I understand, Counselor. He placed Guardian's memory crystal on the display panel beside him. This contains all the evidence we've gathered. The crystal pulsed with purple light, and the holographic display above changed to show images of Earth's hidden fleet, the captured dangerous ships, and finally, the horrifying footage of the Void Harbinger's attack on Jupiter. Murmurs spread through the chamber as counselors leaned forward, some in disbelief, others in growing alarm. This cannot be real, said a representative from the Mer Collective. Earth is a primitive world. These images must be fabricated. Tom stepped forward. The crystal contains verification codes and quantum signatures that cannot be faked. The evidence is genuine, Anna added. We've included sensor data from our own ship. Earth has been hiding their true technological development for centuries. But why? Asked another counselor. Why would humans deceive the galaxy for so long? Because they were preparing, Jack explained. Earth was visited by hostile aliens long before the Union made contact. They chose isolation and secrecy as their protection, while they advanced their technology. Maria activated another section of the crystal's data. The Void Harbingers have been infiltrating worlds across the galaxy. We have evidence of their agents in multiple systems, including... She was interrupted by a loud alarm. Red lights flashed throughout the chamber. The Council is under attack, shouted a security officer. Multiple ships of unknown design have appeared in orbit. Jack's heart sank. They followed us. The Harbingers must have tracked our ship. Ben quickly accessed. The external camera feeds on a nearby console. The screen showed dark, shifting vessels surrounding the Council station. They were identical to the ships attacking Earth. The Void Harbingers are here, Jack announced grimly. Everything we've told you is about to be proven true in the worst possible way. The head counselor stood, finally showing real concern. Activate. All defenses, call in the Union fleet. There's no time, Jack said, pulling out the data chip Cooper had given him. But there is another option. He inserted the chip into the console. The display changed to show coordinates not far from the Council station. Earth has maintained hidden outposts throughout Union space. There's one nearby with ships that can help us. Many counselors looked outraged at this revelation, but the head counselor raised his hand for silence. You're saying Earth has been operating covertly in our territory? Yes, Jack admitted. To monitor the Harbinger threat, Director Cooper gave me authorization codes to activate their defense fleet. The chamber shook as the first attacks hit. The station's shields. Our defenses won't hold for long against weapons of that caliber, a military advisor warned. The head counselor looked at Jack, indecision clear in his ancient eyes. Then another explosion rocked the station, stronger than before. "Do it," the counselor ordered. "Activate the Earth fleet." Jack entered the codes Cooper had provided. For several tense seconds, nothing happened. Then the display showed movement at the coordinates, dozens of ships appearing suddenly as their cloaking systems deactivated. "This is Admiral Rick Taylor, of Earth Defense Force," came a voice over the communication system. "We're moving to engage the hostile forces. Council station, prepare for evacuation if necessary." The Earthship streaked toward the Harbinger vessels, moving with incredible speed and precision. Their weapons, unlike anything the Council had seen before, cut through the enemy's defenses with surprising effectiveness. "Those ships," the military advisor gasped. "The energy readings, they're using technology similar to the dangerous fleet but far more advanced." Jack nodded. "Earth didn't just study the alien technology they captured, they improved it. They've been preparing for this fight for centuries." On the display, they watched as Admiral Taylor's forces formed a protective barrier around the Council station, engaging the Harbinger ships. The Earth vessels moved in complex patterns, somehow predicting the enemy's actions before they occurred. "They're using quantum predictive algorithms," Tom explained, studying the tactical displays. "Their ship's computers are calculating probable moves seconds before the Harbingers make them." Another Earth vessel, larger than the others, moved into position above the station. "Council station, this is the EDF Defender," a new voice announced. "We're extending our shield perimeter to cover your position. Stand by." A shimmer of energy flowed from the Earth ship, enveloping the Council station. The next Harbinger attack hit this new shield and dissipated harmlessly. The head counselor turned to Jack, amazement replacing his earlier skepticism. "It seems we have greatly underestimated our human neighbors." "There's no time for politics now," Jack urged. "Earth is under heavy attack. They need reinforcements immediately." The counselor nodded and addressed the chamber. "By emergency powers, I authorize full military cooperation with Earth forces. All available Union ships are to prepare for immediate deployment to the Sol system." As the council members rushed to implement these orders, Admiral Taylor's face appeared on the main screen. Behind him, the battle continued to rage, but the tide was turning as more Earthships arrived. "Commander Wilson," Taylor said, recognizing Jack. "Good work getting the Council's cooperation. We've contained the situation here, but Earth is facing the main Harbinger fleet. The dimensional tear near Jupiter has widened. Hundreds of enemy ships are pouring through." Jack stepped closer to the screen. "The Union fleet is preparing to assist, Admiral, but their ships are slower than yours." Taylor nodded. "We've anticipated that. Once we secure this area, we'll transport as many Union ships as we can using our jump technology. It won't be comfortable for your troops, but it will get them to Earth within hours instead of days." The head counselor joined Jack. "Admiral Taylor, the Union Council officially recognizes Earth as a sovereign power and ally in this conflict. We request a formal meeting once this crisis is contained." Taylor allowed a small smile. "Looking forward to it, Counselor. Been a long time coming." His expression turned serious again. "But first we have a war to win." As the Earth ships continued to push back the Harbinger forces, Jack turned to his team. Their mission had succeeded against incredible odds. The alliance that should have formed centuries ago was finally taking shape. Forced by necessity, forged in battle. "Cooper was right," Jack said quietly. "Humanity isn't just ready to join the galactic community. They might be the ones who save it." On the display, Union ships were already moving into formation alongside their new Earth allies. The combined fleet prepared to jump to the Sol system, where the fate of not just Earth but the entire galaxy would be decided. The secret was out. Earth had risen.